Like, if they go 85-77, I think a lot of Giants fans would say, that's kind of what we were hoping for. Yeah, but we didn't make the playoffs.
And can't you? I know how you think.
Before the season, that would have been okay, I think.
Well, I thought you said no. You did because it's on your resume for I'm having a hell of a year. If somehow they get in the playoffs, that's the win for this team. And don't you think Giant fans right now are like,
if they win,
they can taste it.
If they make the playoffs, it's over.
No doubt.
Right. I'm saying, but I think
because you're there right now, Steiny.
Well,
it's
you're
mental.
there, but it's not like you're in control.
Well, if you play good ball.
Well, of course, but there's 7 teams that are within 3 or 4 games of you. So what I'm saying is, you still have a lot of work to do.
That's a fact.
And you could play pretty good ball, and if two or three teams get hot outside of you, then here's what it seems like to me. People think this team's definitely going to the playoffs. I don't understand, even though I think it's absolutely a realistic goal, and it should be the goal.
Yeah, let me tell you why, Steiny. They play a different brand of baseball.
Than who?
Than all the other teams.
Are they better than Philly? Are they better than Miami?
I would bet on them in series and keep going. All those teams you're mentioning, okay. I would just their approach.
Why didn't we think this before the season? Because they have the same team. Like, they didn't make any changes. So before this, and listen, I'm just talking here.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's one way or the other.
I got an answer for you.
We came in with not a lot of expectations for this team. There was disappointment. Now we're 110 games in. We're 60-49. We're the number 1 wild card, but it's a bunched up race. There's no doubt about it. So they have a shot to make the playoffs, a good shot. It's not a foregone conclusion, though. So what I'm asking is, how big of a difference is it? Not for the fans, because the fans are going to be psyched. If they make the playoffs, they're going to be disappointed, obviously. But do you think Giants fans at 888-957-9570, how much does it mean, if anything, for the big picture of Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler between making the playoffs and missing the playoffs this year? Because in theory...
So now I got to take emotion out of it.
Well, I can tell you right now, hey, you know what? I got a crystal ball. I can tell you one thing, but I can't tell you 2. Here's the one thing I'm going to tell you. We're going to win 86 games. We're going to go 86-76. But I can't tell you if we're going to make the playoffs. Do you take it?
I don't.
That means you're basically playing 500 from now to the end of the season.
And I think we got a drop. I forget who it is, mediocre, but I wouldn't take that. Like, I just got my sights set high, and I'm tasting it. I believe this team, what they're doing is tangible. And also, what you just said earlier, I think it goes back to the offseason. Correa was a signal of, I know he wasn't Judge, he's not Stanton, but, a big bopper. And I got too fixated on that aspect of the Giants that they needed to star. And I wasn't by myself, but I forgot about how the game of baseball is played. And they got depth, and we're seeing that now. With contributions from a lot of people, the bullpen pitching better than we even thought, Steiny. And right now, I'm getting spoiled when I watch the Giants because I don't expect those other teams to take advantage of a Giant slide like we just saw on this last road trip in Atlanta, in Washington, the nation's capital, and Detroit. So I don't expect to see that again. But, Steiny, I would be, and it's not about me, you talk about the youngsters having an impact, and right now they are. To the FO, that might buy them time, even if they don't make it, but end up having a winning record.
888-957-9570 is the number. What's the difference in terms of security between whether the Giants make the playoffs and not make the playoffs when it comes to Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler? Or is there no different? I was talking to Evan before the show, Goo, and I said, I brought this same thing up to him, and he said, I think you're overstating that Farhan might be not on the hot seat. But he said, I think you're overestimating that Farhan maybe isn't a made man. He didn't go that far. Anyway, here's what Evan said this. Oh, I feel like Farhan didn't make a move at the deadline because he feels like he is safe as the general manager of the Giants, meaning there were deals out there, but he didn't like any of them. And because he didn't like any of them and he feels like he's got job security, he said, I'm not making a move that I'm not 100% crazy about. I think I can speak for Evan by saying that if Farhan really felt he was on the hot seat, then he might have done something to make it look like, or to try something.
But that sounds like desperation. And that guy that was holding
so then
court,
he's safe.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And
so then
Steiny,
they don't have to go to the playoffs this year. And those
are two different things.
Well, no, they're not, because if Farhan believes that he does, if he can not live with, but there's a chance that they will not have made moves and they won't make the playoffs.
But I'm telling you, I believe the market had nothing that he really felt like would help this team.
Moves.
Right.
A lot of
moves.
moves.
And some probably were doing it out of desperation.
Okay.
But I don't feel like the quality of the people that were moved were so impactful that you wanted to gut your farm. And I got to give him credit, because I believe what he said in that clubhouse the other day in the dugout when he was holding court, he felt it. Like, he just didn't feel like there was something of substance out there that would change the makeup of his ball club.
Right.
And again, here I go, naive Nancy. I believe that.
Well, it's funny because, and I heard Willard say this too to Dibs yesterday, and he said, well, none of those, like all the transactions, like none of those guys are good. Well, okay, just how was Lance Lynn in his first start for the Dodgers?
No doubt. He was fantastic.
That's the point. Yeah. I mean,
is he going to do that the rest of the season?
Know.
Right.
I don't know. But if he does, then that's a great acquisition that nobody gave an S about when it happened. So, like, to me, we don't know who's going to be good after the trade deadline.
Okay, but
we don't know the guys that are going to help a team, and we don't know the guys that aren't going to help a team.
But it's two sides to that, Steiny. What if he would have went out and got Lance Lynn? Okay. I personally wouldn't have went and threw confetti even before he threw his first pitch. And what if he was bad in his time here? Then it would look like, oh my God, what did you give up to get Lance Lynn, who wasn't a help? Now, he was phenomenal in his start yesterday, but I look at it like that. Like, Lance Lynn wouldn't have been, print up the playoff tickets. He would have been an option. But you're right. What if it was good, Goo? Then what are you saying?
Like, what if, like, I get Lance Lynn. What if he goes 5-2 for the Dodgers with a 3.0 ERA and they win the division? Well, then that's a move that nobody. That
it's a gamble.
It's under. Was it a gamble? How much did they give up for him?
Much of nothing to me.
Okay, well then it's not a gamble. I get, like, Steiny, MLB trading deadline was a poor bunch of mid-30-year-old washed-up players. Okay, let's say the trade market wasn't very good, which it clearly wasn't. Like, I'm not criticizing Farhan for not making a move. I'm not praising him for not making a move. I'm just saying that by not making a move, Evan kind of reads that, and maybe me a little bit too, that he doesn't feel any job security or job pressure. And Giants fans might be out there saying, why should he? And that's what I'm saying. Well, why should he? Well, that depends. Will he have made the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years, or will he have made the playoffs just once in his 5-year tenure as a general manager of the Giants? Like, to me, that's why I think this is a pivotal year for the Giants. I do think they kind of not need to make the playoffs, but if they don't make the playoffs, well, then doesn't that make next year total make or break? Then they have to make the postseason next year, don't they?
Yeah.
So I just want to know how Giants fans feel about that.
But if he's looking at a team right now, Steiny, 11 games over.
Right.
He's operating, and he believes in this team.
But we know they don't have enough starting pitching, right?
Do we?
That's conventional wisdom.
Well, no, on paper, you would think that, but right now, the opposite is happening. I mean, it's not all good in the hood, but Steiny, they're 11 games over. It's working right now. You're without some of your best players, and they still just keep moving down the road. So I don't think he was operating from a place of what word am I looking for? He wasn't content. He was just a believer in what he has, and like the YouTuber just you brought up, What was really out there that was going to change him besides the Scherzer or Verlander?
Austin and San Jose. Steiny, why are you guys trying to give Farhan credit for not making a move? His job is to make the team better and sell tickets. He didn't. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm asking, Austin. That's exactly what I'm asking. I'm not praising him or criticizing him for not making a move.
But we got to praise him for 3/4 of the season that it's looking good that they're going to make it to the playoffs.
Right, but that they better, right?
Yeah. No,
so what if they don't? What if they don't?
Then it's hell to pay. And I would lose confidence in
even though they may have won 86 games, which everybody at the beginning of the year would have taken.
That's playoffs for me, Stoney.